Hello, good evening, Pico Rivera. Let's bring today's meeting to order. City Council meeting, March 28, 2023. Roll call, please.
Council members, commissioners, Dr. Sanchez,
Here.
Garcia,
Here.
Camacho,
Here.
Lara,
Here.
Mayor President Lutz.
Thank you very much here. Great, then moving on to the invocation. If we can have Mayor Pro Tem provide us with the invocation.
Everyone please stand. Bow your head. Heavenly Father, we look for your wisdom, integrity, unity in today's council meeting. May it be productive and benefit our city in every way. Help us to stay on track and keep focused on what is right and just. Help us to consider all the facts and come to a definitive plan of action concerning our community as a whole. Help us to make our decision and vote as if you were in the chair sitting next to us. We ask that your tender mercy be with those families and the community in Tennessee that are grieving over the loss of children, over the loss of staff members at that Christian school. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. And may we have Stephanie from the Donnas bring up one of the girls from Cheer to do the flag salute for us.
Leave that in.
Yeah, let's have them come up here.
Oh, okay.
Hi, girls, are going to lead us in the flag salute, okay? Here's the flag. Want to grab the microphone? You want to give us your names?
Jaislyn, Harley,
All right, can you lead us in the flag salute? Ready?
I pledge the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Good job.
That was great. That was great. All right. Mr. City Manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, there is, Mayor. We have a special proclamation presentation to one of our valued employees.
Yes, we do. We do have a special presentation for one of our valued employees for the past 24 years. She's been a dedicated employee. This brings tears to our eyes, to all of us. Our Anna Jerome, our city clerk, is retiring tomorrow. And what better than to do a special recognition for her? Anna, we're going to provide you with a proclamation from the city of Pico Rivera. It's a thank you. It's just a small thank you to you for all your service that you provided to the city of Pico Rivera. And I'm going to read a little bit on behalf of the council and the rest of the city staff. We truly do appreciate you. Whereas the city of Pico Rivera is home to over 64,000 residents who rely on the employees of the city to provide services for all the residents in a friendly and efficient manner, which you have done. Whereas Anna, who has been a lifelong resident of the city since its incorporation since 1958, started her family with her husband of 41 years, Jeff Jerome, raising their 3 daughters, Christina, Jessica, and Melissa, and has been an active parish member of St. Hilary Church. And whereas in recognition of Anna Jerome's accomplishments, it is appropriate at this time to commend her in her dedication and commitment to the city of Pico Rivera. Anna, can you please come up and receive this city proclamation? And let's have your family come up as well. And let's have the rest of the Jerome family come up as well so we can do a photo. Let's get her and let's get you in. One, Evan. Awesome.
Thank you.
Which is the, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm so excited to see it.
And one with the certificate. The certificate.
There we go.
Hey, Jeff, you got a friend out, huh?
Do you want to get in? One, two, three.
Evan. There you go. Ready, one more? Oh, shit. One.
Presentation. Anna, do you have some words for our city of Pico?
Thank you so much. This is much harder than I thought it would be to leave. I leave behind a great group. It's been, an honor and a pleasure to work with all of you. So, City Council, I want to thank you, Mayor, City Council, City Attorney, City Manager, my esteemed colleagues, Captain, residents, family, and friends of the city. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have served for this great city I call home. So thank you very much, and I'm off to the next chapter of my life, which is to take care of my grandson, and that's going to be the best job ever. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Anna. We really do appreciate and adore you. Thank you. Now moving on to our next item. This is a bit unusual. I think we're going to do half of the council meeting standing up, giving awards and recognition. But we love it because we do have to honor our residents and our staff. And of course, the next part of this city council meeting, we're going to be offering certificates of recognition to the Pico Rivera Donnas Junior Gremlins. Big round of applause. So just to, if we can have Ashley Black, head coach. Ashley, we want to congratulate the Junior Gremlins Donnas on just being amazing and doing a fantastic job. And of course, we do want to mention not just yourself and the girls, but Vanessa Velasquez, which is the head AD, and Brianna Villa, junior trainer, Victoria Lopez, junior trainer, Christina Baron, cheer coordinator, Desiree Jimenez, assistant cheer coordinator, Elizabeth Morales, president, Nidia Cifuentes, assistant coach, Sandy Martinez, assistant coach and team mom, Laura Romero, assistant coach, and Brenda Juarez, assistant coach. Ashley, do you have a few words before we have all the girls come up?
Hi, team. Again, no, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful season. These girls worked extremely hard all season long, and without the support of all of our parents and staff, would not be something that they would be able to accomplish. And it's just an honor to be able to be here with the city to recognize these girls today.
Fantastic. And of course, now let's have the girls, if they're all up here, let's get them up here and we'll do a group picture. And the coaches as well, and the team mom, and the trainers. Everybody else, please stay seated.
Over here. Right about there. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's good? Robert, how far can we go? Okay. A little more. Why don't you come on this side right here? There you go. Okay, yeah, let me get the... Right here.
Wait.
All of a sudden, you guys are shy.
Okay.
I don't.
If you see a bun behind your head, or if you see the back of someone, that means I can't see you. So
Genesis, can you see baby? No. Come over here.
So I'm gonna take 2 pictures. So everyone stands still. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then one for the ground. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And then if I could get just one with the girls. Let's stay right. No. The coaches are just, yeah. And women.
Robert, do you want them to hold their, one where they're holding their medals?
Girls, hold your medals up. Show it out. There we go. One, two, three. All right, one more. One, two, three. I earned it. Are you sure? Awesome.
One more. Come on, your parents.
Under 2.
Any more presentations? Yeah. Throw something else.
All right.
Where's that Winnie? I don't want
Okay.
All right, that was great. Another big round of applause for the Donnas. Yes. So here we do have the certificates. It's a hefty amount of certificates, right? Okay. Thank you. All right, everyone. So now we're moving on to another special presentation, a certificate of recognition for the El Rancho High School soccer team, the girls' soccer. So, if I can, are they outside?
They'll be coming in.
Yeah. Let me pass it on to Councilmember Dr. Sanchez to say a few words.
Thank you. I want to say congratulations, ladies and families, to all the coaches, cheer moms and dads. I know it takes a lot of time, practice. I requested a certificate not just for your team, but for each girl, because you save that certificate, you put it in your portfolio to show that you're a champion. They won the National Jams Championship. So when you go to college and apply for college, you collect your certificates now because you're a champion. So congratulations.
Thank you, Councilmember. So while the girls from the Gremlins step outside, and we have the girls soccer from El Rancho come on in, we're going to go ahead and celebrate them. So if you give us a couple minutes.
Anna, you forgot to mention that you have to take care of Jeff too. Not just again.
Yes, that's how many medals they have. Okay. Got it.
Mark, this yours?
All right, so again, we're going to be doing a special presentation awarding a certificate of recognition to the El Rancho High School girls varsity soccer team. Big round of applause. And this award is presented in recognition for the team's hard work and dedication during the 2022-2023 season, ending with 19 wins, 8 losses, but being ranked on one of the top 10 teams in CIFSS Division 4 throughout the season. And for reaching the state regional semifinals, a level reached for the first time in the team's history. So can we have Coach Pablo Gomez come up and accept this award on behalf of the El Rancho High School girls varsity soccer team? Oh, it's Stephanie. Okay, if we can have Stephanie come on up. Stephanie Galvan, right? Yes. Stephanie, here we have our certificates of recognition provided to you, and if we can have all the girls come on up, and we'll take a group picture. And Stephanie, let's have you give a couple of words on behalf of your team and all the hard work.
It was an incredible season to begin with. This team we've been building for the past 4 years, and we knew that this team had the potential to go all the way this season. It was great support having the community beside us. Parents, we couldn't have done it without you. You guys raised amazing daughters. To say the least, there's more to come. Thank you guys for all your support.
All right. Okay, we can get our chairs back now. You want to say something?
Well, actually, thank you for Mike. I do want to say something. From the fact that I'm myself a girl dad, and I have they all play soccer, and I know some of the teammates have played with my daughter as well before. Just wanted to. It's a great programs that we have soccer here in Pico Rivera. It's great that the Rancho soccer girls team took the city to this level, because you are representing our city well. Congratulations to all of you, and look forward to the next year where you bring the trophy home.
I managed to catch your game against Cerritos, and that was an exciting game. You inspired the entire student body. That whole high school was rallying behind you. It wasn't just the high school, it was the community. Thank you for bringing pride to yourselves, to your school, to your families, and also the city of Pico Rivera. Thank you.
All right, as we celebrate Don's night tonight, I just want to say once a Don, always a Don. Go Dons. Congratulations.
I'm loving this girl power tonight. What I told the Donnas from the Gremlins, we have a certificate for each of you to save in your portfolio, because you are a success, and be sure to save that. So when you're applying to colleges and for scholarships, you show that you all are part of Pico Rivera, and you're a strong team. So I want to say congratulations, and we're very proud of you.
And ladies, we do want to name you individually to show your recognition so that the public knows. Let me start off with first team member Yamil Picon. Sierra Santos. Crystal Moreno. Carolina Diaz. Vanessa Ruiz. Jennifer Artiega. Amy Flores. Kiara Owens. Ashley Quintero. Ayanara Flores. Dayanara Gonzalez. Giselle Strastestugi. Giselle, I'm sorry, I tried my best. Gabrielle Perez. Ariana Salazar. Emma Hernandez. Elise Hernandez. Isabella Bourgeon. Madison Morales. Nayeli Alvarez. Valeria Castaneda. Trinidad Arizmendi. Samantha Banuelos. And Coach Stephanie Galvan, thank you very much for all your hard work. All right, we've all done our exercise for the day. Great, and now moving on to our next special presentation is the Tesla Solar Battery presentation. And if we can have that presentation.
Yes, Mayor, City Council. This is an exciting opportunity for us to hopefully enter in a partnership between Power Choice, Tesla, and Prime. This Office of Sustainability is headed by Victor Farrar, and I have Kathy DeFalco to do the presentation on this exciting program.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Kathy DeFalco with CalChoice. And as Steve mentioned, we've been working with Participant Energy and Tesla on this very exciting program where I'm going to hand it over to Ethan Friedman and Mike Kimball, who will go through some of the details. At this point in time, we're just introducing the program to council. We've been working with Pico Rivera staff and hope that you will think this is a wonderful program and be excited to introduce it to the citizens of the city of Pico Rivera. And we will be available for questions should you have any after the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ethan Friedman. My colleague here is Mike Kimball. Thank you very much. We're from Participate Energy. Thank you to the mayor, to the city council, to the city staff and the prime staff, and to the entire community for giving us the opportunity to present this exciting new program. So we're describing this program as distributed microgrids. And at the core of it is understanding that traditionally generation comes from somewhere else, passes through the overhead lines to people's houses, and then you have essentially residential usage. And the meter that is essentially at everyone's house, it separates between sort of the utility side versus the home ownership side. And so what we are intending to do is to deploy batteries in partnership with Tesla, who is an industry leader in the home storage space, as well as CalChoice and hopefully Pico Rivera Prime, to essentially allow for Prime to procure generation that happens behind the meter. So at people's house, on people's roofs, and then resell that power and battery services to the underlying customers. And if you can envision, the way that it works today is that power comes from other sources, centralized solar or windmills or hydropower, and all of that in the sources are in the spot market, purchased by Prime and then delivered to people's homes. And if you can see the homes that envision, the homes that have put solar on their roof, that generation occurs behind the meter. But generally speaking, every time someone does that, they're reducing the amount of power that they buy from Prime. And at the same time, when that solar produces, often it's in excess of what they can use at their home. And so that excess energy is then transmitted through net metering out back to Prime. What we're proposing in the green home is to essentially establish a battery alongside the solar system. And so the new technology allows for the solar generation to be captured and used on site. So at night, when other solar projects have gone dark, the underlying distributed microgrid will allow for the energy that's been produced on site to be used during the peak hours, and at the same time to provide emergency resiliency so that if the grid ever goes down because of like a rainstorm or some type of weather event, there's the opportunity for that home to continue to have power and to continue to operate on a backup power basis. So I'm going to pass it off to my colleague.
Again, just echoing Ethan's comments, thank you very much. We're very happy to be here and present the program. And just I want to reemphasize what Kathy said. This program didn't happen overnight. It's been put together with Tesla and CalChoice and the city of Lancaster probably over the last 2 years, really to solve a lot of the problems that prohibit a lot of houses to go solar. So later on in the presentation, we're going to get into specifically how this program addresses some of the problems to get more solar on more homes in Pico Rivera. So, from breaking it down, the benefits of this program kind of for the customer and then also for Prime. So resiliency, you're going to hear a lot. Basically, that just means houses that enroll in this program will have the lights on when the grid goes down. So at the end of the day, yeah, that's very valuable in emergencies. Behind the meter again is more of a technical term, but how that creates value for the customer and the resident is going that previous slide where the power from power plants decentralized. It's obviously brought to Pico Rivera through Edison's lines. And Edison charges big delivery or transmission distribution fees. So by siting the power plant, the solar plus the battery at the home of the Pico Rivera resident, we're able to significantly lower those fees that Edison charges your residents. So that's really how a big portion of the value is created. And the term in the industry that people use is behind the meter. So again, the value for the resident is they're getting this system, this resiliency. It's obviously at a zero upfront cost to the resident, and it's generating savings for them over a long term. The benefits for Prime is as more of these projects get rolled out throughout the city, it's just more and more grid stability for Prime. And then also down the road, there's a lot of programs coming down in the future, distributed energy resources, demand response. You'll be able to create more programs that will further benefit Prime and the residents. Green energy, obviously, these systems can be sized up to 100% of a house's energy use, so they can have 100% green energy. Also, how the program's structured is Prime and the city of Pico Rivera, they get to keep 100% of all the renewable energy credits or certificates to meet certain state-imposed mandates on Prime and on Pico Rivera. And then again, we think it's a very valuable program because of the zero upfront cost and long-term savings for the residents. So we called the program with CalChoice, we call it Power Choice. And that is what the other cities in CalChoice, the other cities that have already adopted the program, they've taken this Power Choice name, so that's what we're recommending, I believe, to Pico Rivera as well. So that we call the program Power Choice. And again, the high-level benefits, right? This is a zero upfront cost to the homeowner, long-term pricing stability. So the homeowner is able to lock in predictable power pricing for 25 years at an extremely low escalator. So I think Edison, just in the beginning of this year, the price increase was 30%, and then come July, there's another 8 to 10% coming. So residents will be able to lock in power pricing. When you look at the blended escalator between the solar and the battery, it's actually the average is going to be sub 1%. So if a resident in a house is looking at locking in power pricing, predictable power pricing at below a blended average escalator below 1% compared to Edison just raising rates 30%, we believe that's very compelling for the residents in the city. The third bullet point is probably the most important part of the program. How we see it is it's available to all customers. So typically, historically in solar, the people with some of the highest incomes are typically the people that go solar or get solar, and then the people with middle or lower incomes are left behind. So if you look at Pico Rivera, I think, Mayor, you said it was 64,000 people. Prime services about 15,000 residential accounts, but you currently only have about 824 solar customers. So we're really excited to be able to greatly increase that percentage, not just at the people that have the highest income, but all residents. And so explaining more than no credit check, right? How traditional solar is done is solar companies will come in and try and canvass the highest FICO scores. So the way this program is structured is there is no credit check. So FICO scores are not looked at. Someone who has a low FICO score is going to get the same pricing and ability to do the program as someone with a high FICO score. Another important part of the no credit check is, everyone's going to sell their house at some point. That's been a challenge in solar. A lot of realtors, it's been a negative, I think, in the past. The way this program is structured is when someone is selling their house, if they're part of the program, the buyer of the house, there is no credit check of that buyer. There is no acceleration of a contract that forces a situation that could be a negative impact to the person selling their house. So it can be easily assumed by the buyer of the house with no credit check of the future buyer of the house. All the ongoing operations and maintenance of the solar and the batteries is handled by Tesla, paid for by Participate Energy. So there's no cost to the homeowner or to Prime over the next 25 years. And then again, we've said it a few times, obviously, the 100% renewable energy we feel is extremely important, and then having the backup power when the grid goes down. I'll turn it back over to Ethan to go over this.
So we partnered with Tesla to implement this program. Tesla is, I think, most famously known as a car company. However, they have a significant battery stationary storage business and are actually the leader in the industry in home batteries. And so they have the staying power. And it's really important to understand that any customer that enrolls in this program gets the full Tesla customer experience, the same as if they had bought that underlying system for $30,000 in cash. So they have the same installation process, the same O&M, the same app that allows them the same flexibility as if they own that system. It's theirs. They can use it as they see fit. Participate Energy, our company, is the essentially a newly formed startup that's dedicated to this program, but our background comes from Corporate Credit Inc. We straddle between finance and project development. We've done over $500 million of rooftop solar over the last 15 years and over $5 billion of structuring of equity investment by corporations, primarily in low-income housing. And for low-income housing tax credits. And our focus has always really been around environmental justice. And Mike, in the previous slide, sort of took you through it, but at the core of it, at the core of it, we wanted to create this program to allow for pricing stability for your customers, for the resiliency that marrying solar plus storage had, for the ability for Prime to realize 100% green energy deployed, but also to create equity. So if you envision the traditional solar power purchase agreement in which a third-party owner is selling the kilowatt hour, it's effectively a financing of the underlying system. And they're selling that to the customer. Here, we're proposing to sell all of the power generated in the battery services to Prime. So our counterparty risk is municipal in nature and is significantly credit improved. That allows for greater savings to be passed through to the customers, and it also allows for the city itself to create equity for each of your residents, because now we're able to put a $30,000 system on everyone's home. So universal access and democratizing access to this cost-saving technology is, we believe, like a significant improvement over the alternative, and we're really excited about the opportunity to bring that in cooperation with Cal Choice here in the Power Choice program. So the way that it'll work fundamentally is that we would enter into a three-party agreement with the customer, Tesla, and Participate Energy that allows us to essentially have a site license to put our system on their roof. We would then produce electricity predictably over the next 25 years, sell that energy to Prime, and Prime would then resell that energy to each of the customers. Tesla would be engaged to perform all of the O&M and to service the systems, as well as to provide all of the software for the dispatch. And so that same exact system that would go into anyone that buys a Tesla system directly in cash. So I'll pass it over in terms of the process.
I know that the text is a little small here, but we wanted to lay out just so you could see, right, how it goes from a customer learns about the program to the system is actually built and installed and the customer is receiving benefits. So initially, the customer enrolls, on Prime's website, and they enroll in the program. And as Ethan mentioned earlier, they get the same exact Tesla design experience as someone who's paying $30,000, $40,000 for a solar and battery system. Same exact customer experience. Tesla works with the homeowner to design and build the system. The homeowner has final approval of the system that's going to go on their property. And then Participate Energy steps in and pays for everything, so there's no cost to the homeowner Prime. And then Participate Energy sells the energy to Prime, Prime, in turn, resells the energy to the customer via an on-bill tariff, which the tariff would be called Power Choice, if that's the name that Pico, Rivera, and Prime elect. So these next few slides are kind of individual breakdown of that high level. Again, emphasizing the no cost to the customer. Learn about the program, sign up online. Then Participate Energy starts paying Tesla so they can design and build the system. The customer controls the process with Tesla. The system gets built and the solar and the batteries owned by Participate Energy. Another important thing to note is pretty soon we'll have part of the program, if a customer wants an EV charging station, they'll be able to check a box and that will be provided to them at no additional cost. And it will be a universal. Tesla's coming out with a universal charger, so it won't just be for Teslas, it'll be for any electric vehicle. So residents that participate in this will kind of future-proof their home for all the electric vehicle legislation coming down the pipe in California. And then, as we discussed, Prime is buying the energy from Participate Energy, but it's important to note that the energy stays on site. It doesn't go through Edison's grid, right? So the energy is staying on site, and then Prime is reselling it back to the customer, and it's all done on the same bill. There's not an additional bill. That's another part of the program that we tried to eliminate the confusion of having multiple bills when a third-party solar financier is involved. And I'll let Ethan close it out.
We are moving forward, submitting this for your consideration. We are working closely with the Prime staff to scope the program as well as CalChoice, which have been great champions. We have already launched this in Lancaster Energy and have had City Council approval and other municipal members of the CalChoice program. We look forward to answering any questions that you may have tonight or in the future and are excited about this opportunity.
Do you want to go first?
I have a question. What happens in the case of the residents that already have solar and let's say they purchased or leased, but then they want to choose this option, or what would happen in that case?
The expectation is that when they went solar, they probably in all likelihood entered into a long-term contract. So we won't necessarily be in a position to buy them out of that contract, but we are working with Tesla to allow for retrofitting of storage to existing solar. So if you're familiar with the NEM 3.0, the net metering rules that have been promulgated, there are new rules that are coming out which effectively reduce the cost of the power that's being transmitted back to the grid to the utility companies. That means that customers that have existing solar are not realizing the same benefit that they were going forward. So new customers won't have that same benefit. The ability to use storage so as to ensure that there's not this excess energy, but it's captured and held and utilized on site is the advancement here. So our hope would be to be able to bring forward just Powerwalls under a similar, just a scaled down program.
Thank you for the presentation. So I have a lot of questions. I personally would like to see an example of someone's bill. Like maybe if you could, on one of our subsequent meetings, give us an example of from just point A to point Z in regards to a resident signing up. You mentioned no upfront cost, but are they stuck in a 25-year loan?
There's no loan. The underlying system is owned by a third party. So we're utilizing the federal tax benefits as well as essentially the future sale of electricity to Prime as our vehicle for raising the capital necessary to pay for the system. The expectation is that each one of the customers will have the opportunity to opt out of the program at any point, essentially buying that system at fair market value determined by an appraiser. And so this is intended to be inclusive and not an exclusive program. There's nothing barring somebody from buying solar themselves and putting it on their roof or any competitive offer. So what this is intended to do is to provide essentially an option, and our target, again, is underserved people that don't necessarily have a great way to get solar on their roof today.
Well, what I'm going to say next, please don't take it the wrong way. So it seems like you're harvesting like square footage to harvest energy to then arbitrage that for a profit. And then that profit's probably going to increase decades later as energy increases, right? The cost of energy. I say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so a resident's going to enter into a contract.
Right.
They're going to allow you to install solar
Right.
with a battery. They're not going to pay anything. Right. You own that. You make money off the delta of the energy that's sold back and that you sell back to Prime.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to connect the pieces where the homeowner is financially responsible, but it seems like they're not.
So the homeowner is financial responsible insofar as that when they sign up for the program, they're agreeing to buy this power at a fixed rate with a fixed escalator. And so there is an obligation to essentially participate in the program once they've been signed in. And again, they can opt out, but that effectively results in them buying out that system. The expectation here is that we're delivering this power at a fixed rate with a fixed escalator. So the counterpoint example would be if we went out into the desert and created one centralized solar facility and sold that power through a power purchase agreement to Prime. It would be the exact same contractual relationship as we're proposing today. However, all of that power would then be subject to transmission and delivery charges from SCE, which would bring the effective rate beyond that generation cost that's paid to the solar plant itself to maybe 30 or higher than 30 cents per kilowatt hour. By siting the system on people's roofs, the benefit is we don't transmit electrons over property lines through those wires, so we're not subject to those fees. So effectively, we are reducing the bill by maybe 40% to 60%, and it depends on system size. And that reduction in cost ultimately creates the headroom in terms of customer savings to allow for a battery payment. And that's the dual process.
Yeah. My follow-up question is, so what do we do? Like, how does the system work in the environment of on-demand charges, right? Where during on-demand peak time, energy is much more expensive, but then that's where the battery kicks in. So
right.
So my question is as the residents start to charge their own individual battery, they're not selling the power. That Prime isn't selling energy, right, at that time, because the resident is using their own battery at that point in time.
Right. And so the way that, and some of the finer details still needs to be refined. And, the Power Choice program in other cities and other CCAs has been adopted with two separate independent charges. One, a per kilowatt hour charge, and two, a fixed monthly cost with no escalator. And so the expectation is that people want to have the opportunity to use that battery however they want. And maybe they're saying, hey, I'd like to reserve 50% of the battery in case the power goes out, so I have the benefit of that resiliency. If they do so, they're not maximizing their economic opportunity by arbitraging essentially the time of use cost of that power. So the idea here is to allow for that same level of flexibility and the same level of control for the customer. And in the future, we believe that there's a coincident benefit so that the time that the battery kicks in will offset peak usage, which is why, again, that's why we're creating overall savings on the customer bill. And at the same time, this high heat event is, without getting too detailed, is when Prime faces its greatest risk of having to go out into the spot market and procure energy because you've moved through your hedges. Here, by allowing for the battery energy that has been charged and stored to be utilized, we're essentially allowing Prime to avoid having to go out into that spot market because there is a predictable, essentially reserve battery physical hedge that can be deployed in those moments. So I believe sincerely that we can additionally allow for Prime to then introduce programs for customers that now have these batteries where we would not participate in that revenue stream at all. Our goal is to deliver power under a wholesale PPA to Prime, but Prime could, in fact, compensate their customers so that there could be a demand reduction program or other dedicated programs to maximize the utilization in cooperation with the customers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This actually looks really promising. But I'd like to see the micro details of,
Sure.
if you could just eventually walk us through that. Thank you.
Of course.
I do have a couple questions.
Yeah.
I'd like to simplify it.
Sure.
It's a bit complicated, but if I was just a general customer, the incentive would be how much of a percentage savings versus someone that doesn't bring the batteries from Tesla, doesn't bring the solar panels
Sure.
from your company?
So we think that we are at a competitive advantage against all other solar companies because we have a better counterparty risk in selling power to Prime as opposed to a group of individuals, especially in today's interest rate environment, as well as the ability to work in cooperation with Prime to educate customers about this opportunity, reducing our cost of acquisition. So our expectation is that we compare favorably without being specific with other traditional solar power purchase agreement providers, as well as, again, understanding that they restrict who they will ultimately allow to enroll in the program, where we are proposing not to have that restriction. In terms of cost versus other Prime offers, again, each person is going to have a slightly different experience based upon their load, right? And so while we have modular power walls, there's a fixed price for the first one, a fixed price for the second one, while we have essentially generation that is being tied to their demand and their usage, the expectation is that everyone's pricing is going to be a little bit different. But broad strokes, we are saying that we are offsetting 34 to 35 cent power with 14.5 cent power. So we're a significant savings and on the power side, but we are also including this monthly charge for the battery. And we're not proposing to essentially tie one to the other because people want to have the ability to use that battery as they see fit. And so our goal here is to create savings, but our expectation is that we can't necessarily guarantee savings. What we can point to is a low 1% blended average escalator across the costs, so as to provide pricing predictability for the next 25 years for each of these customers. So if people are on a fixed income, as an example, there is great value in having certainty as SCE pricing goes up and up and up. Here you will have, and Prime's underlying generation will be able to essentially be levelized as Prime is able to essentially continue to provide this low escalator on all future energy sales. So we're targeting savings today, but everybody's experience is different, and we ensure that there will be savings in the future as, again, the delta between our costs, which are fixed and known, and SEE's costs, which are not, continue. And we expect that there's going to be a lot of both grid improvement and generation necessary to satisfy, like the electrification of transportation, as an example.
Ethan, have you launched this in Lancaster?
Yes, we have.
And have you seen a percentage or a range of savings for customers that were previously non-solar panel, non-battery, and now have a percentage of savings of X amount, and what would that be?
I think that we are still installing the first systems, so we have there's a sales cycle associated with the design, build, and permitting, and so we don't have a great sample set in terms of experience, but I think we can come back to you with, as we drill down into the joint rate comparison and how this would compare, we can come back with you with like real-world examples. I don't have those figures.
All right. And yes.
Just real quickly, I live in the city of Lancaster, and I was one of the first to sign up for this program. And our modeling is based on average usage, across the board. And as Ethan mentioned, each customer is different based on their individual usage and what time of day they use it. In my particular case, when I did the modeling, and of course I'm interested from both sides of this, I want to see what the CCA experience is like, but also the customer experience, and be able to analyze and I guess report back on that. I'm actually getting 2 power walls, and I'm still going to have substantial savings. I have, Lancaster's a desert city, so our usage is a bit higher than the average in the city of Pico, Rivera, but I will be seeing savings right out of the gate with my system. And again, as time goes on and SCE as we have seen historically, increases at a much higher average rate than the escalator we're talking about here, those savings will continue to grow larger over time.
Got it. And I have a real-world example when we have a brownout. Do our batteries, someone who implements the solar panels plus the batteries, and during a time of period when there's a brownout, do the batteries kick in a couple seconds later?
It should be instantaneous. So these batteries are designed for whole home backup or partial home backup, depending on sort of how it's designed. And there's going to be input from the customer. And the expectation is that this is resiliency in the truest form. It should allow for your computer to continue to run.
So in that scenario, we wouldn't be obligated to reduce our power
No.
during periods where we're suggested to reduce our power between a certain hour and a certain hour.
I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, I think that there's specific
As the
rules,
manager
right?
of your load.
Yeah.
It will depend on the heat event and a lot of different things. If we are having a severe heat event, such as the one we saw at the end of August and the end of September last year, it would be an all hands on deck kind of thing. You would encourage your residents that have this program to operate off the battery power, and we would seek to reduce energy in other areas. Again, looking at what the real time pricing is out on the market for any above hedge usage that the city of Pico Rivera is seeing because of higher demand due to weather. So it's kind of a mix, we're looking at a lot of different things. There's a lot of analysis that goes on with each event that occurs. So this would certainly help. This would be a huge help in that situation. It may not be the only thing that we would request that, the city of Pico Rivera do in order to reduce their exposure to very volatile pricing during those heat events.
Thank you. And if we don't have any additional questions from the dais, I'd like to thank you, Kathy, Ethan, and Mike, for the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the time.
At this time, I do want to acknowledge our commissioners in attendance, our Planning Commissioner, Robert Martinez, and our Parks and Recreation Commissioner, Vanessa Martinez. Thank you for joining us in today's meeting. And now we'll be moving on to our public comment. So in our public comment section, you have 3 minutes. And if we can start with the first individual, Roy G. Arroyo, if you can please kindly come up to the lectern. Roy, you have 3 minutes, and the screen on the right there has your timer, and you can begin.
Okay, well, first, I didn't know I was going to go first, so I'm sorry. Usually when I speak, it's all about me. So you have to excuse me. I'm not sure if I'm very organized in what I'm going to say. But I just want to thank the council members, the city manager. I think there's a lot of heroes in Pico Rivera. And today, you took the time to exemplify that by acknowledging the Gremlins and the soccer team, my good friend Anna Jerome. And that's why I came up here. There's a song that that I thought about, and it's by Lou Rawls called "You'll Never Find." And I don't know if you know that song, but you'll never find another city clerk like Anna. But I've known Anna and Jeff for almost 40 years, and I remember Anna when she was on her job search looking for a job, and you were very blessed to have her. So and I know you know that. But I just wanted to say that I used to be a student representative for the city council in 1979. They used to have a student representative from El Rancho, and I was that person. And it's great to see so many of you. I gave a card and said about heroes. Johnny Garcia is one of my heroes, and Mr. Carmona I've known and I've seen him raising his sons, and he's one of my heroes. And I don't have the pleasure of knowing each of you individually, but I just want to take my hats off to all of you. I've seen the city grow. I was born and raised in Pico Rivera in 1961, and it's good to see that the city is doing well. And also that, just a reminder that, You have the power. You run the power. You guys are you guys are like superheroes with battery packs, and you have the power to do the best for the city and the residents of Pico Rivera. And don't take that for granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. Next, we have Lauren Talbot. Lauren, if you kindly come up to the lectern.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lauren Talbot, and I'm the Community Library Manager at Pico Rivera Library and Rivera Library. We have some great programs coming up in April. Smarty Pants Story Time for kids ages 2 to 5 starts at the Pico Rivera Library this Friday, March 31st at 11 a.m., and registration is open on our website. On Monday, April 3rd, LA County Public Health is holding a vaccine clinic at the Rivera Library from 1 to 3 p.m. They will be offering free flu vaccines, COVID vaccines, and updated booster shots. No health insurance is required, and walk-ins are welcome. Celebrate Dia de los Niños, or Children's Day, on Wednesday, April 12th at 4:30 p.m. at the Pico Rivera Library, where we will share fun stories, enjoy books and reading, and create paperback piñatas. This program is for kids ages 5 to 12 with a parent or caregiver. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Next, if we kindly have Valerie Herrera.
Hi, good evening. I'm actually here today with a friend of mine, Brianna Martinez, regarding the Pico Rivera Dons. I am a parent of the Pico Rivera Dons Junior Gremlin Gold Team. I paid over $750 for my son to play sports. I've been a resident since the day I was born. My little brother played from day one. I was a Donna. And when it came time to turn in the uniform, I was advised by the city AD, Veronica Dominguez, that me and my son were not allowed to attend the banquet. After I paid $750, like I said, my son was there at every practice. He was at every game. We participated in every single fundraiser, did everything we had to do, and my little boy wasn't allowed at his banquet for I don't know what reason. She sent me a contract that stated, all team funds would be held if the uniform wasn't turned in prior to the banquet, which it was turned in prior to the banquet by my ED, my team AD. When I try to point out the fact that everything and the consequences that she was stating that my son was going to suffer for not returning in the uniform, when I try to point out that everything she was saying wasn't stated on the contract, I got no reply back. And she just told me that we weren't allowed and we weren't going to be allowed to sign up next year because I'm assuming or I heard that there was a problematic parent list. And just because I spoke what I had to speak, I'm not allowed to come back next year. Or my son. My son doesn't even want to play football anymore if he can't play for the Dons. This is the city we live in. And he also lost out on a jacket. I was told by my AD that the city AD, it was their doing. They were responsible for ordering the jackets. My son didn't get one. And I was also informed by one of the parents that was kicked off the team earlier in the season that her son had received all gifts. So I'm just here because I feel like her being city AD, instead of trying to resolve an issue, she just automatically kicks everybody off and we're not allowed. Again, I'm just here. I'm standing with Brianna Martinez, and I'm just trying to resolve an issue. I just don't think that it's fair for our kids. It's about the kids. Again, my son's only 8 years old. He said he doesn't want to play football if it's not for the Pico Rivera Dons. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valerie. If we can kindly have Brianna Martinez. Brianna, please step up to the lectern. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Martinez, and I've been a Pico Rivera resident for over 17 years. My husband and I met at Burke Middle School, where now our kids are attending. It's been very exciting for us that they get to experience the sports in the same city that we did growing up.
This past season, my son played football, his first year in football with the Pico Rivera Dons. He told us this football team felt like a brotherhood. He wished he played sooner. Some players have been classmates, other past teammates from RBA. During the 2022 Dons Pee Wee football season, there was an issue with some coaches and board members. Their behavior towards our children caused extreme problems with players and parents. When parents like myself expressed their concerns, the coaches and board retaliated by kicking players off the team and not allowing players to return. The retaliation was excessive, and we have asked conference for help. None was given. I asked Mayor Eric Letts for help in this matter. He suggested a player meeting allowing the kids to voice their own experience. All of the parents were on board. We thought that this was a great idea, but that meeting was refused by the Dons board. I offered a venue at my office for an open meeting. No response has been given to us. Eric then offered a private meeting suggested by the Dons board where only certain and limited parents and players would be invited to attend. The board requested a list of parents interested, and they would manually vet who they wanted to deal with. I was not part of that list. The Dons board sent me a notice to cease and desist to stop me from speaking negatively about them, but it's been proof that they have been retaliating on a lot of children, not just mine. I am here today requesting an open meeting during the City Council to allow our players and parents to express their concerns and dissatisfaction with this organization. Please calendar a meeting and invite the Dons organization, including last year's Pee Wee coaching staff and their current board members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. If we kindly have Mr. Jose Sanchez come up to the lectern. Mr. Sanchez, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I want to pass today. I'd rather have the council address the concerns from the parents that just spoke up. So my issue is dealing with noise and all that. And I know there's a 8-foot sound wall that's being erected on Endel, and I think my community deserves something similar because of all that's going in the past. So I'll pass on my time, and I'll bring it back at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Now we have Maria Camacho. Kindly come up to the lectern. Ms. Camacho, you have 3 minutes, and your time begins now.
Ok, mi nombre es María Camacho de Westland en Pico Rivera. Buenas noches a todos los del concilio y esta noche vengo a pedirles que tomen en cuenta nosotros los residentes líderes de California necesitamos protección contra los propietarios predatorios. Entiendo que Pico Rivera hizo un buen trabajo para pasar la ordenanza en nuestra ciudad, pero sufrimos los altos costos de aumento exageradamente en nuestro parque. Por eso venimos pidiendo su apoyo de la AB 1035 hoy para que los miembros del Comité de Vivienda y Desarrollo Comunitario de California sepan que necesitamos un límite de incremento del alquiler en todo el estado para garantizar que todos los residentes de viviendas prefabricadas tengan un lugar seguro y accesible al que llamar hogar. Por favor, no olviden el proyecto de ley AB 318. También si la ayuda que nosotros obtuvimos y seguiremos teniendo, los problemas de Westland no hubieran mejorado y continuamos en la lucha. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Mendeville. And now we have John N. Soto, if we kindly come up to the lectern. Mr. Soto, you have 3 minutes.
My name is John Soto. Greetings, Mayor and council members. On Saturday, March 25th at 1:30, a loud music began to play at the golf course patio area. It was loud and it was amplified. I was able to contact Rudy Valle, manager of the golf course. He said that some people asked him if they could have a 1-year-old birthday party there, and he said yes. Rudy said that the music would only last an hour. I said that the music was too loud and why didn't he place them indoors with the sliders closed? Rudy said basically if I didn't like it to call the police. He said that at least 3 times. Is Rudy going to disturb our neighborhood's peace 1 hour at a time? You know, I really don't have time for these silly games. Also, and I'm retired too, so. Also, you know that the police are pretty busy without having to be called every time Rudy decides to let someone have their birthday party there with loud music. Last week, some person took their own music box and started playing music on the patio area. What is going on over there? There is a provision in the municipal code that says offenders can be charged for deputy services. Actually, a deputy could be placed there during weekends to monitor the activities of the golf course, and the golf course could be charged for the deputy's time. I'm sure there are plenty of deputies that would jump at the chance of getting some overtime. Maria and I decided to retire here in Pico Rivera because we have deep roots here and we simply love this city. Like I said last time, my dad was a World War II veteran, and he used his GI Bill and bought a house here in 1956. When it was built, being built in 1957, he moved us here around the corner from where we live now. All 6 of his children went to El Rancho High School. My 3 brothers all joined the Marine Corps, and 2 are Vietnam veterans. My brother-in-law also attended El Rancho, joined the Air Force, and is also a Vietnam veteran. My other brother-in-law joined the Army and is also a Vietnam veteran. I did not join the service, however. In 1971, I went to the island of Guam and worked a civil service job for the U.S. Navy. I was joined there with Maria and our daughter. Maria worked at the military exchange. Maria also graduated from El Rancho along with some of her cousins. So you see, we are very much a part of this beautiful community, and we are here to stay. And so are our neighbors. I have 22 seconds. Our neighborhood still wants some sort of resolution letter stating that the golf course will not play loud music. This is for the future. All of you may go on to bigger and better things, and a new management group may take over. So we need something to keep with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Maria Soto, if we can kindly have you come up to the lectern. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, and public. We, as human beings, in the absence of knowledge, will construct meaning and draw our own conclusions. In regards to the issue of the golf course, since no one from the city has reached out and to keep us in the loop, we have done just that. At this point, our goal is to keep you informed from our own perspective. We had one quiet weekend, the entire weekend, and what a difference it made with not to have to deal with the noise and the vibration. At this point, we don't know what information or directive has been given to the golf course staff because the following weekend, we had one quiet night, and then the music and the noise started back again. There was talk about hiring a sound engineer to come up with a solution. At this point, we don't know if anyone was hired, much less if there was a solution found. I just found out this afternoon that they're still looking to hire someone. We are working in good faith with the city, but also need to know that progress is being made. We've stated, John and I have stated, that this is our forever home. And that hopefully means a lot of years for us. We're retired, and as you retired people, those of you that maybe not. It's looking to live peacefully. We thank you for your time and look forward to solving this issue expediently. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and next is Julia Emerson from SoCal Gas.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and council members, and just this once, your wonderful city clerk. Hi, I'm Julia Emerson, Public Affairs Manager for Southern California Gas Company here in Pico Rivera. I'm here because I would like to provide an update on natural gas prices. I'm sure aware that the prices of natural gas have been historically high in the last few months, and the market prices for natural gas are fortunately continuing to drop. Purchase costs have dropped more than 80% since the high that hit in January. And SoCal Gas is estimating that an average residential bill will probably be about $100 lower from the January's average of $300, depending on the usage in the individual home. Please understand, SoCal Gas does not set the price for natural gas. We buy the price on the regional markets, and when the price goes up, we have to buy in those markets, whether the price goes up or down. The cost of buying that gas is billed with no markup to your residents and your small businesses, meaning that SoCal Gas does not profit from the movement of gas commodity prices. We make our price from the transportation of the gas, not from the price of the commodity as it goes up or down. There's some small bits of good news on the horizon. Not only are prices dropping, the Public Utilities Commission did approve the acceleration of a California climate credit of about $50 to go onto either March or February bills for residential customers. And SoCal Gas, excuse me, we are also delaying collection activities on residential accounts. We don't have to do this, but we're doing this. We will not disconnect overdue residential customers for the time being, and we have temporarily paused all non-residential, those small business customers, non-residential collection activities have been paused in the field for the time being. We continue to inform. We've been using our website, and you've seen things maybe in your bills. You've had news releases, and we've worked with your city, your wonderful city staff, so that I could come and give some more information before you. And your great public relations staff asked for additional information, so we're very happy about that. Please know we have programs to help. There's a bill forgiveness program. There's the level pay program. There's all kinds of things that can assist your residents, your small businesses, and we hope they will take advantage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julia. And our final public comment is Hector Cervantes. Hector, if we kindly come up to the lectern. Mr. Cervantes, you have 3 minutes. Your timer is on your right-hand side on the screen, and your time begins now.
Thank you. I wasn't really prepared to speak tonight. I wanted to speak with one of the councilmen. But on August 9th, 2020, last year, my brother and I spoke at a council meeting. You may or may not recall the day, that day the Warmington resident group was granted a major variance. That night, August 9th, last year, we were directed to speak with Michael Garcia, who then directed us to speak with Julie Gonzalez, who then directed us to Hector Hernandez. At first, I was told to apply for a variance. Fast forward to March 7th of 2023, I was told I couldn't even apply for a variance. Since March 7th, I have been going back and forth with the planning department, and I've been trying to set up a council meeting, with Councilman Lara. The reason I'm speaking tonight is to share in front of all of you that I feel I'm being discriminated against. Back in August, a variance was granted to the Warmington Group, big development. In my case, I'm just a resident. I'm simply asking for a variance to build an ADU for my mom. I have a lot of evidence here that I would like to share why I should be granted at least an opportunity to present why I should be granted a variance. But I didn't mean to single you out, Mr. Lara, but at the end of that meeting, you did say to follow up with you, so that's why.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I think, was it a week or about 2 weeks ago, you had mentioned to me that there was a resident. At that time, I didn't remember it was you. And mind you, I'm biased to PIH. I was a nurse for 17 years there. But the city manager had mentioned that there was a resident. They wanted to meet with me regarding the variance. I said, not a problem, just set it up. And we'll set it up. I no one had gotten back and whatnot.
I have emails of everything, how I've been communicating back and forth and how I've been just put aside.
Let's meet.
Okay.
Let's lay it all out. I want to hear the story. I want to hear everything, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do that. I'm free next week, Monday through Wednesday. So
Mondays.
Okay.
Mr. Cervantes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that concludes the public comments. I want to thank everybody for their public comment. I do want to acknowledge that for future meetings, respectfully ask that no clapping, because it extends the time of the meeting, and we do want to give everybody an ample amount of time to do their public comment. And then as far as those that have concerns with specific departments, Mr. City Manager, I do understand that, for example, with the Soto family, they are in communication with city staff, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, correct. And then those in regards to the mobile home park, those individuals are in communication with city staff?
Yes.
On that item?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, moving on to the next item, which is our consent calendar. Consent calendar items 1 through 12. Kindly have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Okay. And Madam City Clerk, can we have roll call?
Councilmember Dr. Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Camacho,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Lutz.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. And now moving on to the city manager's report. Mr. City Manager, do we have reports?
Yes, Mayor, City Council, just a quick update. We had a successful event over the weekend. We partnered up through a grant with Caltrans, and it was a dump day. It was hosted at the sports arena. There was over 12.55 tons of bulky items that were collected. NASA also assisted with that. I want to give my thanks out to Park and Rec staff, Public Works, and also Jesse Garcia from our office for getting that arranged. So it was a very successful event. They want to partner up again to do it over. So I want to give a quick update. Federal funding request. Recently, the city, we applied for a $3 million funding request for Senator Padilla. We also applied for a $2 million funding request for our Congresswoman Sanchez. And we also applied for another $1.5 million from Representative Sanchez as well for historic Whittier Boulevard. And that has, I'm glad to say, that has advanced to the next round. So again, we are advocating for that. Hopefully, we have a trip planned for DC in the upcoming future.
Very good. That's great news.
Just one other thing, Mayor, really quick. The March City Manager Report is now available. There's a lot of great information in there, so please feel free to look it up on the website, but it's out there now.
Great. And can you remind our public how they can access that as well on social media platforms, aside from the website?
Yes, it's our virtual Pico Rivera Virtual City Hall, and that's also can be downloaded from the App Store.
Now moving on to the good of the order, AB 1234 reports, new business and old business. And if we can start from my left with Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I had an opportunity to participate in a virtual meeting with the Rancho Unified School District, and I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Lara for inviting me to that meeting to look at safe pathways and the REACH program, along with our city manager and Pam Ugar and our captain who also participated. I also had a chance with some of my colleagues to attend the RBA opening day ceremony. RBA established in 1959, 64 years of service to the community. I want to acknowledge Councilmember Camacho. We also had an opportunity for the Go-Getters softball program, presenting the jerseys to the Go-Getters, where we were out there. And Councilmember Camacho, thank you for initiating that on the side there. Fundraisers for our veterans, American Legion Post 341, a St. Patrick's Day event there to interact with some of our veterans and support the post. Our Shade Lane Seniors Anniversary Program that we attended there to support them. Also, I had a chance to attend the Pico Boys Baseball opening day ceremony with some of my colleagues as well. And finally, another veteran event that I had an opportunity to attend was the VFW Auxiliary Breakfast Fundraiser. And I really appreciate all the support that everyone has provided. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Dr. Monica Sanchez.
Yes, thank you. I had an opportunity to have a meeting with our Economic Development Director as well as the American Heart Association to follow up regarding our tobacco retail license and our ban on flavored tobacco products. And part of that conversation was encouragement from the state association to find a way to incorporate youth, 18 to 20 years old, to make sure that our stores, our tobacco retailers are complying with our law. And so we're working in effort with, and we're going to hopefully work with our sheriff captain as well, and to work with the retailers as well as our youth and our law enforcement to be sure that our law, that our ordinance is passed, is actually being followed. So that's exciting. We passed that last year, was it? Last year. I had an opportunity to go on a ride-along with our LA County Sheriff Department, and it was with Deputy Peralta. He is the longest-serving sheriff's deputy in Pico Rivera, and I was glad to participate, and I learned a lot about the processes and equipment that they wear. I got a tour of the facility, and I was able to learn a lot about our sheriffs and how they operate in the city. So thank you for all you do in one day. There was a lot going on. And then lastly, I attended a recognition ceremony for Ani Samuelian was recognized as Businesswoman of the Year by our Senator Bob Archuleta. And she is the president of our nationwide environmental services, and her business cleans up this graffiti and cleaning our city. So she was recognized as part of our city. So that's it for me.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember. And before we move on to Mayor Pro Tem's reports, I do want to add one more additional item from the city manager's reports.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, with the direction of the City Council creating a public safety coordinator position with your direction and also in consultation with our Captain Hutak, we appointed our former Captain Phil Marquez. So he's in the audience. I don't know if he has any couple words to say, but we're excited to work with him. Along with the sheriff, public safety is not just about law enforcement and police. It's about fire, emergency operations. So he's going to be a great asset to our team.
Well, good evening. It's a little different standing on this side. But good evening, City Council members, Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Lara, and Mr. Mayor, Mr. Lutz. Good evening, city staff. Good evening, those in the audience. My name is Philip Marquez. It's an honor to be joining the Pico Rivera family as a public safety consultant. I look forward to working in the recommendations and ideas that will help in public safety. I also look forward to working closely with Captain Hutak and the staff at Pico Rivera Station. Anna, congratulations on retirement, but don't ask me for advice because you clearly see that I failed. Thank you again for this opportunity, and again, I look forward to working with each and one of you guys. Thank you so much. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Well, we're happy you're on board and really do appreciate that Councilmember Garcia brought forth that item, and welcome back to the family.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, moving on to Mayor Pro Tem.
Great, thank you. Nothing to report as far to my recollection regarding AB 1234, but I've had a series of meetings. Councilmember Camacho and I, we had an ad hoc on infrastructure. We talked about our medians. Those are coming along. We had met with our Public Works Director, Mr. Negrete. We talked about design. We talked about construction. The grant that we received, the $8 million grant, that money has to be spent by June, July of next year, approximately. So which is great, because that means this project won't be on the shelf for much longer. So the residents will see construction, they'll see new medians. There's a nice special twist to them. I'll just keep that till once they're presented. But our residents are going to see a beautification of the city like they've never seen before, so citywide. But it's also tying that project in with our roads, right? We talked about Slauson, how that street is just pockmarked. We talked about mines, but these are projects that are soon coming. Thank God. We, Councilmember Garcia and I, we had a joint meeting with ERUSD. We talked about safety. We talked about programs. We talked about replicating good programs that are being done by other cities. We talked about the program that's done in Downey, gangs out of Downey. We talked about replicating that. The school district was very, very receptive to that. They've talked about the number of fights that they've had at their schools. They talked about the need for public safety outside of school premises, like walking home. We talked about getting the residents involved, making this a community effort so that the pathways, the commonly walked pathways that we know about, maybe those residents can stay outside and water their grass at that point in time, or maybe they can sit on their porch, just so that it's another set of eyes to provide safety for our youth so that kids aren't bullied, they're not picked on. It's no longer creating that negative environment. So that was really productive. We look forward on incorporating former Captain Marquez. Thank you so much for joining the city. It's such a blessing that you're here. Real briefly, wrapping up, March is baseball month in Pico Rivera. I had the privilege of going to the Rio Vista Fast Pitch. We didn't get a chance to go to the Pico Rivera Pony Ball League just because it was raining, but they kicked off their opening day. The Go-Getters, RBA, and also Pico Boys. Pico Rivera is very much a baseball town. And I just want to also thank Captain Hutak for her leadership regarding the events over the past week, regarding that teenage girl who was missing. That was really good police work in regards to keeping the community informed, getting out there, finding the little girl, which was really a community effort, right? It was Pico Rivera, it was Montebello coming together and reuniting that girl with her mom, with her family, right? Because, right, being a teenager is difficult. Being a parent is difficult, and sometimes we don't do it the right way on both sides, right? So thank you for your leadership, and that's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Camacho.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for bringing up the medians as far as infrastructure ad hoc committee that we've been working on. I think, as we will see sooner than later, these new mediums that are coming with the approval of the council. Of course, we still have to finalize design, but it's going to be transformational. I mean, we've seen it happening on Whittier Boulevard, Beverly Boulevard, San Gabriel Parkway. Unfortunately, they're not complete because we have some major rains, as we've all been experiencing. Has been major delays on that. Road improvements still need to be done, the other half of Whittier Boulevard. But the remainder is all Rosemary Boulevard, the entire from city to city, city end to city end, Paramount, Slauson, Washington. It's something that's going to definitely beautify the city. In addition to that, I want to echo the comments of my colleagues. Definitely, once again, congratulations to the Shea Lane Senior Club, 63 years. They've been around longer than the city's incorporation. Tells you the magnitude of this group of individuals that continue to help our community. We attended the Pico Boys Baseball. Congratulations to their opening day. Go-Getters Baseball Senior Softball League that I can be part of that membership now as well. But I'll still free for the city side, and I know once again they're probably, when we play them again, they're going to kick our butt once again. But they deserve the jerseys, and I want to thank staff, led by Director Ugar and the entire team for making that happen for them. I think it's well deserved, and they look great. They look great. And in addition to that, echoing what we've been saying to our city clerk, Anna Jerome, It's been wonderful working with you. I feel like I kind of grew up with you a bit. I remember when you jumped into that position, but you definitely have made a major impact in the city. Definitely transformed in many ways the city, and I know that you've left a footprint here. So thank you for all you do, and I'm going to keep seeing you at St. Hilary's and bugging you as well. So thank you once again. Captain Marquez, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. I think it's going to be great. You're going to be a great addition to the team once again. Did great work while you were here as captain, and I know with the team on this side, we're going to be doing some additional work in conjunction with the Sheriff Department here at the Pico Rivera Station. Lastly, I just want to echo Mayor Pro Tem's comments to our Sheriff Department. I think, what we saw over the course of the last few days, I want to congratulate your leadership, Captain, and your entire team. There's, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, all the intricacies involved, the community effort, but sometimes a lot of times the community doesn't get to see or hear all the details. That's what's happening, and there's a level of frustration from especially the families because they want more information. But there's an investigation going through, and when you add all those components, I mean, you guys did an excellent job. Especially knowing that this young girl is back at home with her family, and there's a lot of healing to do, and we'll heal as a community. So once again, Captain, thank you. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Councilmember Camacho. Well, I do have to say that this city has just been reinvigorated, I would say energized all again with all the rains. And because of that, we now had those opening days that we all participated in, the rest of the council and I, and we participated in the opening day for the Pico Boys, the oldest baseball organization that we have in the city, and RBA Baseball, also opening day, and of course, our seniors who kicked our butt last year and will probably kick our butt again this year. They also had their opening ceremony where we gave them their jerseys, so they again get ready to beat us by a couple points, maybe. And I also was able to be a part of the Shade Lane Senior Club with my colleagues, Councilmember Garcia, celebrating 63 years, the Shade Lane Senior Club in Rivera Park. That happens to be in front of my residence, so it was very a nice gesture to be a part of that and celebrate with them. And I believe I too will soon be able to participate in receiving the AARP flyers, right? I also want to acknowledge Senator Bob Archuleta invited the dais of all our council here, and we participated in watching Anna Samulian being a Businesswoman of the Year for Senate District 30, and it was a privilege to be there and see her receive that award from Senator Bob Archuleta. That was a great opportunity to be a part of that. I also attended the California Contract Cities a field trip to the Southern California Gas Company in Downey, and they provided us an image of what a house that would be working on sustainable combination of natural gas along with hydrogen combo, which would be at a reduced rate for our residents. So that's coming around in the future, so look forward to reduced bills for your natural gas for all our residents in Pico Rivera. So stay close. And finally, I went to a Claremont College Rose Institute Housing Symposium, and that was interesting because I got to see how we have our California government along with our local municipalities working in conjunction to increase housing supply. So it was an open forum to discuss ideas how we can increase housing supplies of apartments and also homes for ownership over the upcoming years. It was a great opportunity to interact with other council members and mayors. And with that, that is all my reports. And I do want to ask the public and those that are here with us here, city staff, if we kindly have a moment of silence in honor of the victims who lost their lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And if we can kindly bow our heads now. And finally, before we go into our closed session, I do want to ask you, you appreciate life. You have a short time to live here. Let's make the best of it. So for those that have someone next to them, to the left and the right, look to them and say, I appreciate you. I appreciate.
Most of the time I do.
I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Great. Remember, take that to the heart, everyone. Now, Mr. City Attorney, can you take us into private session?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. We have one item for closed session under conference with labor negotiator as posted on the agenda. It's appropriate to recess into closed session.